and bless the Lord with me. As I said, trouble on every side. Still got to give him glory though. Still got to give him praise. We're covered. We're covered in the blood. Now, you ain't got to worry about what they say or what they do. We're covered. We're covered. You got to know that. You got to know that. We thank God for our pastor. And we have to stand behind him. We have to stand behind him. God have appointed him. We have to stand behind him. Can't just say it. We got to do it for real. So, God appointed a leader. You got to get behind him. You got to get behind him. You got to stand there with him. We know he loves us. If he didn't, he wouldn't stand up for us. And I believe he really do love us. I really do. We're gonna. It's time to preach. All right. It's time to preach. I'm like Pastor said, you never go down with preaching. You always go up. You always go up. So we'll come from the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. I want to start at verse 7. We're going to do 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. I'm going to start at verse 7. We're going to go back. Everybody ready to say amen? 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. We're going to start at verse 7 through 13. Everybody have to say amen? Amen. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or not the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outer appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither have the Lord chose this. Then Jesse made Shema to pass by. And he said, neither have the Lord chose this. Again, Jesse made even 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord have not chose these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sat, and he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beauty countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brother. You may be seated. While you sitting, I'm going to go back to this. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy home with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. If I will put a title on this, it'd be Being Called from the Pasture. God told Samuel, how long will you cry over Saul, who I have fired, who I have rejected, because Saul did not want to do as the Lord said. Sometimes we hold on a little bit longer to things that God already took out of our life. And the thing about it, we prayed about it and asked God to, Lord, take this out of my life. But we have the tendency to keep on holding on to things that God's trying to remove. And the problem is with us, we allow people to attach ourselves to us too fast. I went fishing one time, and I down in the woods, that when it's hot, these fleas and stuff will have this tendency to latch on to you and attach to you. And it's hard to get them off, even to where they'll draw they head down up in you. And it's hard to get them out. And we're allowing people to attach themselves to us, and the spirits that they're carrying jumps over on us. And we ask God to, Lord, remove this person or remove this thing from me. And when God go to remove it, we throw a fit because we're so used to it being with us. But all it's doing is causing us troubles. So he tells Samuel, how long are you going to cry? How long are you going to mourn over the rejection of him? He said, I'd have rejected him. I'd have fired him. So why are you still crying? So I need you to get up, and I need you to go to Jesse's house, because I already chose a king. And if you notice anything about when he chose David was in a pasture. When I used to live in Mississippi, we was in a little town called Lucedale, Mississippi. And if you blink your eyes, you missed it. We had a lot of fields, and when I used to do a little job at 16 years old, after school, I used to ride tractors, roll hay, work with cows and calves, and when you're in a pasture, you don't come out smelling too pleasant, because you have to deal with cow manure. Everybody always say the grass is green on the other side. Well, the reason why it's green because the poop is fertilizer to the grass. So it ain't always pleasant over on the other side. But as I dealt in the pasture, you have to deal with a whole lot of chasing cows and come out not smelling too hot. So that's what I'm saying. It don't matter that you're in a pasture experience. God can call you from anywhere. God said, don't look at the outer appearance of him. I look at the heart of a man. And a lot of times we say, surely it's him, Lord. It's him who you choosing, Lord. I know, because I look at his height and his stature. I know it's him who you choosing. No, God said, no, it's not neither one of them boys. And a lot of times we say, oh, it's him because, oh, she's so beautiful. Oh, she talked well. Well, we know that you're using her. But you better know what spirit that you're dealing with, because it may not be the one that God's dealing with. It may just be that one sitting in the corner that's not talking much, but spending much time with the Lord in a secret closet. Oh, we got to know how to judge. We got to know how to judge. Quit judging people from outer appearance and just say, oh, they're one because they look good on the outside. But what are they carrying on the inside? Oh, now, I'm going to preach to you today whether you want to hear it or not. But it's what's on the inside of a man is what God looks at. God said, I look at the heart of a person. He said, go to Jesse's house. Samuel said, well, if I go, Saul's going to kill me. The Lord said, prepare a heifer for the sacrifice. God could have said, you just go, don't worry about Saul. But God is order. He could have said, no, just go and I'll take care of that. But he said, go prepare a sacrifice and call Jesse and them to the sacrifice. He said, then prepare his house, because I'm going to call one of his boys. He said, if the first boy passed before him and said, surely it has to be him. The Lord said, no, it's not him. Said Abinadab passed before him. He said, no, and it's not him. Said Shema passed before him, and it's not him. He said, do you have another one? He's out in the pasture tending to the sheep. Yes, sir. And he said, go get him. We're going to wait here until you go get him. And he went and got him and brought him back in the house and said he was all ruddy. And they described ruddy as probably a red-looking face. And they described it probably as tiredness on his face. But said he was ruddy, but said he was a good-looking man, good to look upon. Even though he was sweaty and reddish-looking, he was still a good-looking man. And God said, it is him. He said, go anoint him, because he is the one. But see, the daddy was even stunned that was the one.
out in the field. David was a young man when God called him. So it had to be some time that he was spending with the Lord. Because the Lord said he's a man after my own heart. See, and when God calling you, you got to be a man after God's own heart, even though he calling you from the pasture. It just don't work like that if you ain't a man after God's own heart. You have to have something. David said, well, David had to be in the field probably talking to the Lord every day. Yes, sir. Lord, it's hot, but I'm going to continue to work for you. It don't matter where they put me at, Lord. Lord, I give you honor and I'll give you praise. Because sometimes even in the background, you have to praise God anyway. Amen. But the thing that gets me with this one, it said that while David was in the field, they was discussing him in the house. So that meant he was up for promotion and didn't even know it. He was in the field tilling to the sheep who was stinking out there, dealing with poo-poo, as I say, sheep's mess. He was dealing with stuff like that. But he was being discussed in the house amongst the people. I don't care where you're at, when God puts you up for promotion, oh, you got to be ready. And then I looked at this thing about David. 3 things I looked at about David, why God chose David. He chose David because David had work ethic. When God called him, he was in the field tending to the sheep, working. But then another thing why God chose David, David was a fighter. It said that David walked up and said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine? Huh? Then his brother was jealous of him because you can tell, because he said, what are you doing down here? What are you doing down here? Then he tried to get all rude with him. Who tended to the few sheep that you got? Tried to insult him. They said, what have I done to you? Huh? Because you know why? Because God had anointed David. Then the brothers was mad. It don't matter. Sometimes family, sometimes friends, sometimes the closest people to you ain't going to be for you when God elevates you. The jealousy has to take place. Because you know why? Because the favor of God is over your life. That's why you make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. They was your ride or die before God promoted you. Oh, but now they're looking sideways at you. They say, now he think he's all that. Now she think she's all that. No, he didn't think he was all that. You know what happened? The Spirit of the Lord stood up in him. That's what it was. No, it said David was very humble before the Lord. You can tell that he was humble because Saul tried to kill him. Every time he was tormented with the evil spirit, he said he played the harp and the spirit left him. It said Saul loved him until he defeated Goliath. Oh, but then he became jealous. But I told Tate this morning, I said, it don't matter who against you. When God anoints you, oh, you covered. It don't matter who try to kill you. No matter who try to hurt you. God got your back. You can believe that because Saul's son, the one goes to David. My daddy trying to kill you. My daddy's trying to kill you. But David did not understand. Why? How can I love this man so much and he's trying to kill me? He's trying to kill me. Oh my God, oh my God. Listen, I understood why we say what we say. When the call, I'm almost done. When the call and worship, I understand why we say what we say. He said, I make a joyful noise unto the Lord. That's why he can say what he said. All ye lands, serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God, and it's he who has made us and not we ourselves. He said, we are the people and the sheep of his pastures. He said, enter his gates with thanksgiving, into his courts with praise, and be thankful unto him and bless his name. He said, because the Lord is good, and his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endures to all generations. Then he goes, he said, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want, but he maketh me to lie down in green pastures. No, he leads me beside the still water. He restores my soul. He leads me in a path of righteousness for his name's sake. What he said? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod, thy staff, they comfort me. He prepared a table for me in the presence of my enemies. He anointed my head with oil. Why? Because his head been anointed. My cup runs over. So the cup means there was an overflow. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. You're going to follow me all the days of my life. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. You better know, just because you came from a pasture, God got something for you. Oh, it's way bigger than you can see. But if you become a man after God's own heart, I'm telling you, God will show up and show out. He'll elevate you. It don't matter the trouble around us. We're covered under the blood. God has poured all up on this place, all up on his people, and anointed us for a time as this. And even though the devil gonna show his head, he gonna show his head, God will allow you to stomp that book head. Pastor sung it this morning. Shake, shake, shake. Shake the devil out. Shake, shake, shake. Shake the devil out. Shake, shake, shake. Shake the devil out. In the name of Jesus, shake the devil out. Lord God says, submit yourself unto me. Resist the devil and wait. He got to go. He has to go. Hey, may God bless y'all real good.